Hi everybody, this is Holly from Hot Humble Pie. Welcome to my channel if you're new, and a big warm hello to my subscribers. I love you guys. Well, Miss Holly Humble here forgot it was the 4th of July weekend, and we have been having explosives going off in my neighborhood Friday, Saturday, and I was not able to do a voiceover for the video I am so excited to share with you. So today I am bringing you a compilation of my 3-part series Farmhouse Cuties, which were 3-tier tray DIYs, and as always, I hope you enjoy the show. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I'd love it if you click that button. You're going to need a small bottle, some small craft sticks, and a dowel. I'm using some masking tape to stick on the bottle to make the surface a little bit more adhesive for hot glue. But if you have a bottle that already has an adhesive surface, you can skip the tape altogether. And I'm just cutting these craft sticks right where they begin to curve. And now that they're all cut, I'm going to start applying strips of hot glue on the bottom to attach it to the bottle, and I'm going to attach all of them around the bottle. And there's a nice little trick I left in this video on purpose, and I can't remember which YouTuber gave me that trick, but she said in her video that she got it from one of the comments. So I try to give credit, but I'm not sure who gave it originally. But if you put a little hot glue on the end of your stick, your new glue stick, before you put it into your glue gun, it doesn't fall out that way. It's a great tip. I can't take credit for it, but I did want to pass it on. So there you see me glue all of the little craft sticks around the bottle, and I took a chance and hoped that they all fit on there. It was a little bit of a tight squeeze at the end. You might want to measure ahead of time, but that's just how I craft. I kind of make it up as I go. So we're making a little antique butter churn. I saw one on eBay and I'm copying it by making a miniature version. It needs a little lid, so I'm just using some cardboard for that. My bottle sits a little too low, and I decide to go ahead, roll up some cardboard, cut it out, and glue it in a ring, and then put it down on the inside, and that will hold our lid up higher. And of course, the lid has to be covered with wood too, because we want this to look very authentic. So you don't have to be really picky about the sizes of wood here. As you can see, I have some really long, some really short. You just want to make sure you cover all of the cardboard. And now I'm just taking my little clippers and I'm trimming it around to make a perfect circle. Testing it for size, make sure that it goes in there nice and easy. Cutting the dowel, and also going to test it for size to make sure that it's not too long or too short before I commit and glue it down. And this is a Dollar Tree cookie tray, those disposable foil cookie trays. They are great for farmhouse crafts, so always try to pick some of those up. And I don't want all the bumps in there. Easy way to get rid of all the little bumps is just take the end of my scissors like you saw me do, and you just rub it down until everything's really flat. You can use whatever hard thing you have to rub it down. It doesn't have to be scissors, but it works brilliantly to get the bumps out. So now we have those nice little metal straps for our butter churn. Real antique butter churns have these metal straps. I guess it helped hold it together. And I'm just going to take some, it's called Golden Sunset from Apple Barrel. It looks yellow, but it's actually, well, it is yellow, but it's more gold in real life. And you know how some real wood, especially antique wood, has that yellow undertone to it? The butter churn that I saw has a yellow, almost orangey yellow, I guess, undertone, but I didn't quite like the orange look because I figured, you know, once I put the burnt umber on, it'll be orangey enough. So this is watered down burnt umber, and I'm just going to put that over the yellow for a stain. And here I am using my favorite color, black. For those of you that watch my channel, you know that I love black for distressing and making things look really old and antiqued and weathered up here like it's spent a lot of time outside. I have tried other colors, but I still just have the best luck with black, and I end up dry brushing black all over this little butter churn. There I go. And we're going to be doing the same thing to the metal straps. I'm going to start with black by Apple Barrel, but you can use any black. Then pewter gray from Apple Barrel. Again, you can use any gray. And burnt umber, just to give it a little bit of the rusted look, and just trying to make them it's not galvanized, but I'm trying to make the metal look like what I saw on eBay, where it just looks really oxidized and old. And I just used hot glue for this part to glue the two bands together, and it worked just fine. You can use a stronger industrial strength glue if you need to, but you don't have to. You're going to need 4 wooden towering blocks from the Dollar Tree. And I'm using wood glue to glue this together because it's best for raw wood. For those of you that watch my videos, it becomes part of the wood at a molecular level, and it just blows away the other glues for raw wood. And I'm using a little bit of hot glue just to tack it together so it stays in place. Now, I don't like the seam of the wooden blocks, so I'm covering it with a medium-sized craft stick. I have only seen craft sticks in the really small ones, then there's the next size up, and then large ones, and then jumbo ones. And so I always call these the medium ones because they're the second size up, and they're also from the Dollar Tree. And here I'm just taking a coaster, whatever you have around the house, to make a top shape on the top of these 2 little sticks right here. These are going to be the end of my flower box. And you want to cut them before you put them together because there is some resistance when you cut these craft sticks, and it might make, if you glue it together, it might actually start popping off whatever wood brace you choose to use. I'm using the 2 little craft sticks. I'm cutting them in half. You can see them on the side there, 2 of them. And that's what's going to brace the ends of the flower box. You can see me doing it right there. I'm just using a little bit of hot glue and some more wood glue, and I have those 2 little sticks on both the front and back side of these end pieces. I would definitely recommend giving a light little sanding at the end anywhere where you cut the craft sticks, because they do tend to have splinters and little pricky frayed ends. Hopefully a lot of these steps are self-explanatory. Now I am gluing this where the craft stick, the longer part, is on the bottom, because when I put the bottom on, that's going to be the perfect little groove like a puzzle piece for it to fit in there perfectly. So make sure you glue it so that the top is flush, and I'm showing you that there's 2 of those little craft sticks on either end, and the bottom is hanging out a little bit longer for the bottom base of the flower box. And now I'm just cutting my dowel. Make it a little bit of a tighter fit because you're not going to want to use hot glue on that if you don't have to. And here I'm measuring the bottom, and I'm showing you where I'm putting the brace. That middle brace right there is going to go facing on the inside. So the outside, this is the bottom of it. It will be nice and flat because otherwise it would be bumpy and rocking around. So you want to make sure the brace goes on the inside. And now I'm just gluing the ends on, and it ends up just fitting perfect because that little, craft stick hangs over a little bit. It provides the perfect fitting spot for everything. So if you guys make this craft, it kind of comes together like a nice little puzzle piece, which is fun. And I do a tight fit there, so you end up just needing wood glue, which is nice. And finally, last but not least, we use the medium craft stick to put another plank on each side because I think that looks a little bit nicer, and it makes the perfect little wooden box. Look at that, isn't it cute? That's where we are so far. And of course, what would a wooden box be without being Farmhouse white? So I just give it a nice coat of my Holly Humble chalk paint. If you want to know how to make that, it's going to be at the end of this video and also below in my description box. It's not plaster of Paris, and it's not baking soda, I think. And to be honest with you, I'm working on another recipe that might be even better and possibly cheaper or the same price, so stay tuned for that. But here I'm going to freehand the words fresh herbs. Now I know some parts of the United States say herbs with an H and some say it just with the E, herbs. And well, my husband's from England and they say it with the H, and it drives him nuts when I mutilate the English language. Because obviously he's from the native land. So I pronounce it with the H. You're going to need a pattern of a cutting board, a picture of your choosing, and 3 pieces of cardboard, and some spackling paste or joint compound. Now you can get the spackling at the Dollar Tree. I ordered mine in bulk, but you know, the Dollar Tree one works just fine. And you're going to go ahead and cut out the pattern there. Now I will have this pattern in my description box as a free printable. Just click on that link and it will take you there, and you can print up the one that I used. But you're just going to trace it, cut it out, 3 of them, glue them all together like you can see me doing here, because obviously a cutting board has to be a decent thickness. It's not going to be wafer thin, so we're going to start with that. You glue it together nice and tight. And now I'm pretty good at cutting stuff. For you guys that watch my videos, you've seen me use my circular saw. I got a whole bunch of power tools, and so I'm getting better. But even with my new skills, I am not up to cutting a small cutting board. So I made this out of cardboard to make it very user-friendly so everyone can do this craft. And here I'm just taking some sharp tweezers and I'm poking a hole through the middle. And then I'm just going to cover it with some spackling. You can use the Dollar Tree spackling. It works really, really well. This is just what I had on hand. And I just use a spare piece of cardboard to spread my spackling. And I'm going to try it just a little bit, just till it's kind of tacky, and then I dip my finger in some water and smooth the edges, and this will save you at the end when you go to sand. You won't have to sand so much. Now it is dry enough where I can gently hold it without leaving any indentations, and that allows me to finish the handle of my little cutting board. So here, while it's still wet, I'm taking an old stick from a paintbrush that fell off. I actually use this tool a lot, you guys. Hold on to everything. You never know when you're going to need it. Poking the hole through it. Now this is the next day. The next day I sand, and I just sand really lightly and fast to round out all of the edges and to get rid of any bumps or lumps or too many little grooves. I mean, you're just perfecting it so that it looks like a wooden board, because the next thing you're going to do is stain it. So we're going to be using a stain that in previous videos I was totally lukewarm about, and I take it back. I'll tell you, I grabbed this on a whim because I thought, yeah, I want to stain this cutting board. Yeah, let's slap the stain on it. If it doesn't work, we'll just do it all over again. Because that's who I am. I'm very impulsive when I craft. I discovered a lot of neat things that way. Turns out this product on a smooth surface, and this is kind of a matte surface, even though it's, it's smooth, it's matte. There it is, I'm showing you. It produces the most beautiful faux wood grain in one step, you guys. I was shocked. So now I am hot for this stuff. It's a water-based acrylic, so you can wash it up and clean it up really easy. It's not a wax. Wax does the same trick, you guys, so if you have wax, do that. But I'm guessing you could paint over this because it's water-based acrylic, which means you could change your DIYs up back and forth. You could make it white paint, then wood, then white paint, then wood. You could go back and forth. Lots of possibilities there. So, and it was super slippery. It went a long way. A little bit goes a long way. So if you're interested, I'm not sponsored by anybody. The link is below in my description box. This is a photo from my friend's house that I miniaturized, and I'm just Mod Podging it on top of my little cutting board. Now this is a really easy one, and this is a great way to use up those little scrap pieces of wood that you have that you don't really want to throw away. But I never throw away anything, not if you're watching my channel, you guys, because I will always come up with something you can use something for. So what does that mean? Something. Anyway, so this is my free wood. A little bit of scrap here. I'm making a small sign because it's a great width for the 3-tier tray. And here's my design. I designed the Life is Better in the Country, and the windmill I got off of the Microsoft, I think it's called Clip Art, but this will be a free printable for you down below if you want to do the exact same sign as me. I leave free printables below whenever possible in my description box. Now, I did have a couple people ask me what a description box is and where it's located. So I want to go over this really quick, just so everybody knows where the description box is, because it can be confusing if you don't use YouTube a lot and you find it in a Google search, if you're a blog person or whatever. So on a cell phone, tablet, or iPad, there's going to be a little gray arrow in the upper right hand corner there. You just tap on it and it will drop down an information box that gives you more information about the video that you're watching on YouTube. And it's with every YouTube video, there's a description box. Some have more information, some have less, but they're helpful to read if you're interested and you have questions, and maybe sometimes if you look there, you'll find the answer. On a PC or laptop, you're going to click on the words that say show more, and that will drop down that same description box. So I hope that helps you guys out. On this particular one, I do need to use my Sharpie and the ultra fine tip Sharpie, as well as paint to get in all the lettering and kind of finish this sign, because it is a petite sign. Since I'm making it for the 3-tier tray, I just have to kind of do a little mix and match act on this, but it all ends up matching and looking really good at the end. So here you're going to need more of the little Dollar Tree foil cookie sheets, and I'm showing you now in more detail how you rub out those bumps. Now if you have a little bumps left behind for this craft, it's fine, it will look good, but that's all you need to do. And then you need either poster board or cardstock, just something kind of thicker so it doesn't bend. Cut out the little shape of a blade. We're going to be making a little miniature windmill here. Now it's also called a sail. Those are called windmill sails or windmill blades. I think that's so cute. So I'm going to call it a blade today. And these little cookie trays are actually doubled up here. So for every single blade that I cut out, I'm going to get 2. And you will need a total of 8 double-sided blades. You will also need a wine cork and some toothpicks later, but you're going to be cutting out 3 cork slices all together. 2 are going to be the same size, and your third piece should be half as big as the other 2 pieces. And you're going to need 8 toothpicks. Cut them off to whatever size you want, depending on how long you want your windmill blades to be. Just be careful not to cut off the pokey side, because that is, don't cut it at both sides, because you'll need one side to have that sharp end so that you can poke it into the wine cork. Now I just used a little bit of hot glue here. It worked just fine, a thin strip, but really important, don't forget to do this part. Lay it side by side and make sure that all of them match up and line up evenly so that you don't have an uneven circle for your windmill. When you're done doing that, go ahead and glue your second top piece of foil on top, and as the glue is drying, not when it's really hot, but when it gets cool enough to touch, pinch those sides together so that you seal them up nice and tight. And this is what they'll look like when you're all done. And if there's any little overlap or some of the foil is not, you didn't glue it down completely evenly, and so you have a little edge from the back foil or front foil hanging over, just trim that afterwards, it's just fine. You're going to need 4 skewer sticks. Mine are from the Dollar Tree. Now do cut off the pokey ends on those, because the factory cut flat ends are going to be better for legs at the bottom. They'll look more, store-bought. And take the larger cork slice and glue the 2 legs down like you see me doing here, and then take the thinner cork slice and glue that on top of that. Next, you're going to glue what will be the back of your windmill on top of the thinner slice. And as it's drying, make sure you hold your legs out at an angle, because it's going to need to stand on its own. I'm going to stand it up in a minute so that you have that view and you can see exactly what you're going for. Now I did end up cutting another thin piece to put on top of the back there so that you can't see where they're glued together, and you can do that too. And you take the second thicker slice and you're going to be stabbing in your little windmill blades just like you see me doing there, so that you have your little windmill. I'm using some watered down burnt umber by Apple Barrel Paint to stain it, but you can use any color brown, it's no big deal. And I'm staining the corks. You don't have to. This is going to be your baby if you make it, so you guys always do your crafts the way that makes your heart content. But I went ahead and stained the corks brown. I thought it came out really nice, and I even stained the little toothpicks. And then I'm taking some of the pewter gray in Apple Barrel, and I'm just dabbing it on with a sponge to make the blades look nice and old and antiqued. And I'm going to edge them with the burnt umber as well. So I'm totally in love with this guy, and I'm using E6000 to make sure that it stays together with a little dot of hot glue. I've got my window open, a fan going, holding my breath, you guys, it's all good. If you want to just use hot glue, it's okay, or another strong adhesive, but I am thrilled with how this windmill came out. Today we're crafting with one of my favorite things to craft with, cinnamon sticks. I absolutely love these. They have a natural rustic look to them that is perfect for home decor. They're easy to cut and easy to work with, and you get 2 for the price of 1. You get a beautiful piece of home decor, and you also get a natural air freshener. They've done a lot of studies on cinnamon, you guys, and it has so many health benefits. So it's a good natural thing to be breathing in your home, and perfect for fall coming up. For this craft, you're going to need 3 of the towering blocks from the Dollar Tree and some cinnamon sticks. You can pick those up at Dollar Tree, but I think they tend to be kind of seasonal, but you can get them super cheap at grocery stores as well. And if you live by a Dollar General or a 99-cent store, they're also usually there all year round. So you're going to glue it together as you see me doing here. I've cut 4 short pieces and 2 longer pieces because today, folks, we're making a little mini farmhouse chair. Now, I did use wood glue for my towering blocks because raw wood, the best glue you can use for it is wood glue. If you don't have that, there's some other good glues out there, but I don't recommend the E6000. I haven't had good luck with it. It tends to soak into the wood, but I've seen people use super glue, and I've seen them use Loctite. And somebody in my comments mentioned that the Gorilla Glue is really, really wonderful for wood too. So I just wanted to pass that on. And you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just cutting everything down to size and then gluing it together using hot glue. And it turns out that hot glue works really, really well on cinnamon sticks. It's stuck and it's still staying, and it's staying really well, so you can use just hot glue. And here I'm just using Watered Down Burnt Umber by Apple Barrel to darken up the seat a little bit and get it to match the cinnamon sticks. So to cover that hot glue so that the craft looks expensive, I'm using my favorite black, and I'm just taking a little tiny petite brush. Everything's petite in this video. And I'm just painting over the hot glue where it meets at the seam to give it a distressed look, but also that's where chairs naturally get dirty as they get, when they're really old, they always get dirty at the seams there because that's where I guess people can't really wipe the dust off when we clean, so it gathers in there and it stains everything and ends up looking really good, and it works perfect to cover the hot glue. Here's this little guy, and I absolutely love him. He's adorable. My house smells divine. It's so cute, and the black paint worked perfect to cover up the seams where the hot glue met the cinnamon stick. I love this. So I actually found this big old dowel in my house. I have no idea what it's for, and some cinnamon sticks. Now, I saw those cinnamon sticks, but I wish I had just clipped them with those clippers because I didn't know that you could just do that, so I did it the hard way. But, just showing you there's another way to cut them if you work with the cinnamon sticks. And these are the Dollar Tree little felt hearts that came in a package during Valentine's Day. I'm after that little white heart there, and at first I was just going to stick it on and leave it on, but I couldn't get the glue on, and then I didn't really like that it was 3D. I thought it would look more expensive if I painted on, so I use it like a stencil and I just trace it out with my pencil, and then I'm going to use my chalk pen and color it in. And I am going to leave those little stitches around the edges because I love those stitches. I think they're so farmhouse cute. So you're going to see me do that in a little bit too. But this little dowel was perfect. I do remember it's been in the house long enough where it's not, it doesn't belong to anything important, you guys. So I thought, ooh, I said that. You guys are probably thinking, you'll find out you need it for a piece of furniture, fool. But no, it's been around for long enough that I was going to throw it away. I think I kept it originally thinking I could use it to push my laundry down, and then I ended up getting a front-loading machine. So now it's just, we need to use it. You're going to need 6 more blocks from the towering wooden blocking from Dollar Tree. And then you're going to glue them together in sets of 2, and I'm painting mine white. Now you don't have to paint yours white, you can paint yours whatever you want, but we're going to be making those little tiny stackable books. I saw some on Pinterest, they are so cute. They said bless this nest, and I think I've seen DIYers on YouTube do some too, but I've never seen it exactly the way I'm doing, and I'm going to be doing something different. And shout out to Tina! She writes in my first video, I'm not really into tiered trays, but I think these would make really beautiful Christmas tree decorations. I think she said cute though, but absolutely. We love that idea, Tina. Thank you so much. So here I'm printing out Country Life, Ride-em Cowboy, and Fun Farm Facts, because I actually want mine to be separate little titles that add a little humor to add to the whole super cuteness overload thing that we got going on here. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Pinterest, you guys. Look for me over there. I have a great board going on Pinterest for my subscribers. When I inspire you to do a craft, I set up a whole separate board just for you so that I can share your photos there of the crafts that you do. And I chose Pinterest because Pinterest reaches a broader range of the world and more people go there for inspiration. And I just want to give you guys, you know, a shout out everywhere. So I went with Pinterest. You can also share them and tag me on Instagram, and I can get them from there if you don't want a Pinterest account. But when you have a Pinterest account, you can actually email me directly and send the photo that way. So it makes it really easy because we're right there where I'm going to upload. I don't mind if you do it through Instagram, but if you want to do it the other way, that's fine too. But I love it when you guys do that. And thank you so much to the people who have already shared. Go check it out, you guys. We have some really talented people out there. So I really love it. And look how cute these came out, you guys. They're so cute. So I'm just going to take some Dollar Tree twine now, tie them up, and tie a pretty little bow on them. So you're going to need some more Dollar Tree craft sticks, but you can use any craft sticks, obviously from anywhere. Mine are from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to be making a picture frame, like a rectangle shape. So you'll see me cutting and measuring here to make that shape. We're going to be making a little mini blind. I just thought this would be so cute. I actually want really big ones in my home, but they are such a part of farmhouse decor. I think so many DIYers have done it on YouTube, and I love them. I think they're so cute. So I end up cutting another craft stick down the length, lengthways, and I'm using those pieces of wood to put a brace on the back because I want to make this really strong and durable. And I am sanding the edges because they are a little rough. And now I'm going to go ahead and cut my little louver blinds. I use the medium-sized craft stick because that way I can glue them up higher where the hot glue won't show, and it will look like real louvers in the front. And I do recommend that you do this just like you see me doing it here without the frame. Don't glue them in the frame, and glue them this way so that they look like they're facing forwards and closed. I tried to do it the other way and they would have been facing upside down. It was really difficult. And I'm just taking some more wood glue and some hot glue, and I'm going to glue them down on top of the frame and secure them. So the look I'm going for is that really bright farmhouse white on this shutter, and I do paint the back of this shutter as well because we're going to, as I mentioned before, see it at all 360 degrees on the corner of my kitchen counter there, so we have to cover the back. Go ahead and grab some greenery here, And I'm using boxwood from Walmart, but feel free to use whatever you have around the house or whatever goes with your home decor. If you use something similar to the boxwood, you are going to need to cut the leaves down really tiny. We're kind of in a Barbie and Ken mode here, but the shutters are tiny, so we want to make this little wreath that we're going to be putting on the shutters really tiny as well. And here I'm showing you how I'm gluing in the middle of those leaves to try and reduce how much glue you see on the outside, because we are making a miniature here, so you know the hot glue tends to be really globby. So just try and glue in the center. Now this next DIY is definitely a trash to treasure. I'm using those 2 containers that somehow came home from restaurants and to-go boxes when my kids would eat out, and a prescription bottle, but any bottle will do. I think I had something to do with heartburn in this one. And I am using E6000 and hot glue because I do need a really strong hold for this. It's those 2 little plastic mini bowls or whatever they are actually quite heavy, so I need strong adhesive, and I bet you can guess what we're going to make. And if you guessed a milk can, you are right. And here I am showing you another option in case some of you want to take it down a notch and really go small and miniature. This is an antihistamine bottle and the cough medicine plastic cups that come on top of like cough syrups, but I'm showing you you will have to cut 2 of them in half and then glue them together, and it would have to be cut really nice and neat and straight, or you know, you'd be able to tell. But if you want to go really small, fill that container up with some rocks and you can make it really super tiny for these 3-tiered trays. So here's the Dollar Tree cookie tray or baking pan out of foil that they have, great for farmhouse decor. And I'm just cutting it and folding it. I am doubling it up to make it extra thick and bulky because these are going to be the handles for my milk can. I do continue to need strong adhesive, so I do a mix of E6000 and hot glue to get these on the bottle. And then I go around the bottom rim and just secure it with more hot glue, take it outside, and I'm spraying it with that wonderful color aluminum from Krylon. And of course, I'm going to start the process now of making this metal look old and oxidized. I'm not really going for a galvanized look. I'm just going again for something that looks like it's been around for a long time outside on a farm and it's gotten oxidized from the weather. The 3 colors that I'm using is the pewter gray from Apple Barrel Paint, black, and an iridescent silver. And I'm just taking a combination of a paintbrush that is older and kind of spread out. Those work really good for making things look oxidized and or galvanized. And a Kleenex, I'm blotting it here, or a paper towel, and a sponge. And I'm just working on it until I kind of get the look that I want. I'm starting off with the pewter gray first, then I do some black, then I go back over the pewter gray, and I'm just layering it now with the iridescent silver all over, just covering the whole thing until I get a look that I'm happy with. If you want a really detailed tutorial on how to do aged metal, I go really into that in my video called Farmhouse Seriously Free DIYs. It's the first one in the series. Look for the little thumbnail that has a water can on it. That's the one where I go into it. But I'm doing something similar here. I'm just doing, on a smaller scale. And lastly, I am going to use a little bit of burnt umber to put some faux rust around this, just to make it look, older and more distressed. And I also have these little mini pearls. There they are, the adhesive pearl wrap from the Dollar Tree. They also sell pearl buttons. Whenever you guys see this at the Dollar Tree, please make sure you pick them up if you love doing faux metal like this, like milk cans or any other kind of farmhouse stuff, because they're so easy to apply and they add so much realism to faux metal. They imitate the little bolts. I think that's what they use to solder the metal together, and they work great. I end up wanting words on this little milk can, and I choose Local Fresh. Now, I did make and design this myself, and there's a free printable down in my description box. I forgot to mention I also have a free printable for the little mini books as well, so if you guys want to just download exactly what I did, you can. I try to do that whenever I can or whenever I design it, so that you guys can duplicate it if you want to. And if you don't know where that description box is, I give a detailed explanation and instructions on the first part of this series. So check out the first video and you'll find out how to find your description box. And thank you to those that thanked me for doing that as well. I'm really excited about this next craft. I was going to throw away that empty ribbon spool, and it occurred to me that is an excellent shape for farmhouse decor, and I'm sure you guys can probably guess what we're going to be making here. We're going to be making a wooden spool. That's right, those little old-fashioned wooden spools. Oh my gosh, I was so excited about this idea. So I took some foam board, I put it down, I traced either end, and I'm just cutting out the circles now. You can use cardboard if you want, that's just fine, but you're going to need 2 circles. And then I'm going to glue them on either side because we need it to be a little bit thicker than just thin cardboard, which is, the normal thing that's on the end of the spool. And now some spackling. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just taking a little scrap piece of cardboard and I'm painting, or spreading, I guess, the top on either side and around the sides to cover where the foam board meets the little thin cardboard, or if you use cardboard, where the cardboard meets the cardboard. But you just want it to look nice and thick on the edge so it looks like a big, thick piece of wood. And here's a apple barrel paint bottle, and I just balance it on there so it dries overnight. That was a great little trick because both sides are wet. And you're just going to lightly sand it down with some sandpaper, just so that it doesn't have any weird, you might see it there, I can see it, but I'm looking for it. But there's sometimes like little jagged edges that are a bit more jagged than what natural wood would be, and you just want to smooth those areas down. And I'm using jute twine to get a measurement. So I just keep testing and testing until I get a nice measurement for the middle, because I'm going to be using that twine for the measurement to cut down the small craft sticks. Now these craft sticks are from Dollar Tree. You can use any craft sticks you want. Stick with the small ones though, because if you try to go bigger, you can't go around the turn there on the circle in the center, because we're going to be gluing these craft sticks all the way around the middle part. And just like that. You're looking for it to fit just like a tight little squeeze, just like that. Using hot glue for this craft, you just glue the sticks all the way around. Hot glue worked really well. You don't need any other kind of glue. They really stuck really well. I don't know why. Sometimes hot glue, you know, doesn't stick to wood, but for this particular craft with the cardboard, it worked great. So here I'm using the stain that I used to just kind of be lukewarm about and then I'm totally in love with now. That's from Amazon. The link for that is below in my description box. And if you don't know where a description box is on YouTube, I give a detailed explanation on how to find that in part 1 of this series. But here I am staining the craft sticks, and of course they look great, you guys, because they are wood. But as we know, if you watch part 1 anyway, this stain looks amazing on spackling. So the two parts match perfectly and they end up looking awesome. And when it's all done, I end up using khaki from Apple Barrel just to distress it a little bit and make it look old, because it's a little too new looking and streaky, and I just, you know, it needs to have all those different dimensions, like it looks like it's worn off and old, because we want this to look antique. And it ends up working really well. I love khaki for that. Of course, those of you that watch my videos, you know I get a kick when I get my husband involved in these crafts, bless his heart. So he saw this piece of wood for me by hand, and I'm just going to make a little mini farmhouse sign. This is a really easy craft, and I put about 2 or 3, well, it depends, I guess, on your definition of easy, but I put them in here on purpose in this video so that everyone can do them no matter how busy you are or what your skill level is. I just put some easy craft ideas in here, and this will have it's one of the crafts in this video that does have a free printable below in the description box. You just click on that little link and it will take you to the exact same font that I used, and you can download it and print it on up on your computer and do the exact same thing. So I'm doing a very classic stereotyped piece of farmhouse decor right now. Pretty much anyone seems to have this in their house if they're into farmhouse decor. It's that rectangle sign that says farmhouse on it. I thought it would be so cute to miniaturize that and put it on a 3-tier tray. And I'm just using carbon paper to trace it out, and then I'm going to take a painter's black pen and fill it in. It's that simple. So for this craft, you're going to be using some poster board, a tomato paste can, and another part of the Dollar Tree baking foil dish there, the disposable ones that you could buy for cookie trays or a baking tray, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, so I just rolled the poster board up into a spout. You can see what I'm doing there. And it's in a funnel shape, and then I cut it at an angle so that it's flush with the can. And for this craft, I used just hot glue to glue the spout on, and it worked fine. So I was really happy about that. It stayed really, really well. I think because it was lightweight, I just didn't need anything else. And here I am cutting what's going to be the handle. So you'll see me do it right here. I'm going to use my scissors to smooth it out so we don't have that distinct Dollar Tree baking dish design. And then I'm going to fold it in once and then fold it on top of itself. So you see there's 3 layers there, and that's what gives a lot of realism because it's more like a real metal handle. And I smooth it down again to really crease everything and make it look really nice and strong. And with this you can just curl it and bend it and shape it until you get it. And you just have to kind of keep playing with it until you get it the right size so that it easily fits onto that little side can there. And just a little bit of hot glue, you guys, it works like a charm. Even on the handle, which is shiny, that surprised me because both of those surfaces are shiny, and it worked beautifully. And here I am, you see that blue spatula there? I get a ton of questions about that. That is from the Dollar Tree. It's found in the makeup section. It's a makeup spatula, it's supposed to be. And I'm like 99.9% sure it's 100% silicone because I have exposed it to extremely hot temperatures and it hasn't even left a mark. So since I cook with silicone spatulas, it's got the same feeling and it performs the same way, and it's amazing for hot glue. I know they make crafting ones, but they're too big and I don't like them. They're clunky. This one is small, it's like a second finger. I love it. And someone wrote to me about 3 weeks ago, she left a comment, and she was so excited because she found one at the Dollar Tree, which means we all have a shot still at getting one of those if you're interested. I'm even looking for another one in case this one breaks because I have never used anything that is so helpful when it comes to crafting and not burning your finger. I was using craft sticks, but I end up having to throw them away because they're covered in hot glue. I was just wasting craft supplies. So if you find one of those little spatulas, pick one up if you craft a lot with hot glue because they're fantastic. And here I am adding a little bit of burnt umber at the seams there where the metal, if it was real, would be soldered, just to add a little realism. And this time I'm painting the bolts on. I'm just doing little dots. Now only because I know where I'm going to situate this particular 3-tiered decoration. It's in the shadows, the handle, and no one's ever going to see that part. But if you guys know that yours is going to be out and turned where everyone can see it all the time, I would recommend that you use those little sticky fake bolt things that I show you in part 2. They work wonderful for faux bolts, and they add so much realism. So there I am. Look me up on Instagram and Pinterest, you guys. Follow me over there. We have a board going too on Pinterest that celebrates your crafts. So when I inspire you and you send me a photo, I share it over there. And it's really neat. Go check it out. I love when you guys do it. It's so much fun, and it helps us stay in touch with each other so we can kind of see what everybody's doing. I think that's fun. And here is a printable that I made and designed. It just says cut daily. And I burned the edges to make it look old. It's not old enough looking, so now I'm taking some burnt umber and staining it up a little bit. And I'm going to glue it down using regular old school glue. You don't need anything fancy. This is also a free printable down below in my description box. If you click the link, it'll take you to it and you can print it up. I'm going to need to seal it up with Mod Podge, as you can see me doing here, because paint does have a tendency to chip off of shiny surfaces like metal and glass, and I do recommend, for longevity, that you go ahead and seal this one up with Mod Podge. So as I mentioned previously, I purposely added some super simple DIYs in here for everyone despite skill level and or time. And I loved the cinnamon stick chair. It made my house smell amazing, and I was thinking, what else could I make that would add to the smell, because I wanted it a little bit stronger, and here you got it. It's a Farmhouse rustic ladder, perfect backdrop on my 3-tier tray. Super easy to make. I absolutely love this. You guys can add some little tiny blankets on it, a little tiny plant pot, but I love this. For this craft, you're going to need some sisal rope and a can that's neither too fat or too thin. I chose a green chili can, and I'm just using it for the base. I'm not actually going to wrap the can up. I just use it as almost like a guide a little bit so that I know what size I want to do. I have something to lay it on, but you're definitely going to freehand it, as you can see me doing here. And you just put the glue on top of the rope and glue it around. And we have some good tips on sisal rope coming from Shannon Gallagher last time. She mentions you can get it for $8 at Walmart. I've never used that brand. And here I'm cutting my sisal rope at an angle. That's a great trick, you guys. You saw into it at an angle, and then you tuck it around and under, and then your edge at the top is totally even and smooth, and you can't tell where it begins and where it ends. And of course, what would a farmhouse basket be without the little loops on the side here? So I'm just going to use hot glue to attach these, and it ends up coming up really cute. For this craft, you're going to need 6 towering blocks from the Dollar Tree, 1 medium craft stick, and if you don't have a little piece of ruler that you can cut, or I'm using lath, L-A-T-H, you get 8 feet for over $1 at Lowe's or Home Depot. It's a great deal. But if you don't have that for that little piece of wood you see right there that I'm going to glue that sign on, just use 2 more of the towering blocks. That would be fine. And the sign will also be down in my description box as a free printable. And if you haven't guessed what we're going to make, we're making, of course, a washboard. What would farmhouse decor be without the washboard? You gotta have the washboard. So I'm just cutting out the sign here. I'm going to go ahead and glue it down on, that would be your 2 wooden blocks if you do the towering blocks. I use Tight Bond wood glue, which I love. Someone actually told me there's wood grain in the wood glue. They came on last week and said that, and that's what makes it work so good. But shout out to Tara, because last week I mentioned Gorilla Glue and I forgot to say clear. So it was clear that she swears by. And here is a graph that goes over the best wood glues. I thought that was really helpful. It rates them. And you know, if you want to pause the video, that gives you a lot of information if you work a lot with wood and you need to glue it together. Here I am gluing the 3 blocks together. And I'm going to use spackling to try and hide the seams the best I can so we can't see them. And here's some leftover faux galvanized metal made out of poster board. It was black poster board. I sprayed it with the Krylon in color aluminum and blotted it off with a paper towel. And then I also added some dark gray, little amoeba shapes there when I came inside with a sponge. And it's going to be perfect for this craft. I had a little piece left and I was saving it for this because I thought it would be perfect. And I measured just approximately the width of my washboard. And now I'm folding it in an accordion shape because this is going to be the metal part that we scrub our clothes on. If none of us use washboards probably, I don't know. But if we were using a washboard, that's what this part's going to be. I forgot to mention you're going to need a little dowel from the Dollar Tree. I mean, I guess you could substitute a toothpick or something smaller, but I wanted something at the bottom area there. We kind of have to have like a little wood thing at the bottom of there, and I'm using one of the dowels from the Dollar Tree. And here I am, I'm just sanding the spackling. I'm sure you can see what I'm doing, but just to make it as smooth as I can. And we're going to give this a coat of acrylic white paint. I actually did not use chalk paint here. I just used regular old acrylic white paint because I wanted some of the wood to show through on purpose, because I'm going to be leaving some of the raw wood behind. It's going to be kind of a mix of, you know, white with wood peeking through, and then some untouched wood as well, because I thought that looked more rustic and cute. I just didn't want a solid white one. And I'm going to do the back as well, because I've mentioned I have a tier tray that needs, you know, it's 360 degrees around on the corner of my counter, so everything has to be good on both the front and the back because you can see it from all directions. And so here I'm gluing the top part onto the bottom part of the craft medium stick that I glued at the bottom, and it's coming together. Look at that, isn't that cute? And then I'm going to go ahead and glue on the sides with the mix of E6000 and hot glue. Now this is painted wood, so E6000 works great with painted wood. It's just raw wood it tends to soak into, but I have really good luck when I use it with painted wood for sure. And I'm just gluing these two together. For this part, I'm just using hot glue, and it holds, and I was really glad because I wasn't sure that it would. So there's not a lot of pressure on it. It's not very heavy, so feel free just to, you know, keep it nice and light at the bottom there. And you're definitely going to want to put a thin strip of hot glue on the back just to secure this extra, because otherwise it wobbles around. Just using one of my favorites, burnt umber, to age and distress around the sign a little bit. One quick coat of Mod Podge and we are good to go. And now for the finale. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. It really does help YouTube notice my channel. And of course, until the next video, breathe deep, fret not, and do things that make you happy.